Hello, Tim from Fairplay Now on the 18th of February 2023. The big day is here. Got a big day out coming up today, and I'm going to be heading out pretty much as soon as I've finished and uploaded this video. And I'm going to try and get up to Oxford early, going to get the early train up and hopefully get there early. I have boxed a little bit clever. I spent last night up in a town very close to Oxford. It's only about 20 minutes away on the train. Did the majority of my travelling yesterday, stayed over, and then I'm going to leave here and get on the train again early, because I think that leaves me the best chance of getting to Oxford without any problems. I always think if you can do the majority of the journey the day before and then make an early start on the day, or make an early start, you kind of lessen your chances of hold-ups and that kind of thing. But I'm just going to be leaving shortly and getting there. Highly looking forward to it, and I'm sure many people watching me now will probably be seeing me later on, so looking forward to seeing you up there if you're going. But before I go, I've got a couple of things to say. First of all, the days of me having to say things like the lurgy, the big V, the lurgy-demic, and all of this nonsense, I know this might be amusing to you. They're sort of fairly or faintly amusing to me, although it's wearing thin a bit. But I've got to do it because of the censorship. But I see that the CEO of this lot that you're watching this on is leaving. Susan was Chicky, or whatever the surname's pronounced. She has announced her resignation, and it literally came the day after the sort of Congress in the United States there said they were going to be issuing subpoenas to the CEOs of all these big tech companies who have been involved in censorship and colluding with the government to shut down sort of valid voices because they were dissenting from the government line. And although this Susan isn't one of the ones who have been subpoenaed, the boss of her parent company, YouTube, are owned by Alphabet, and the boss of Alphabet has been subpoenaed, so it's probably going to trickle down to her, and she's obviously seen the writing on the wall and decided to jump ship sort of before things catch up with her as well. Although personally, I just don't understand how all of these people, how they think resigning their positions is going to save their skins. We've got all these people sort of running now, Sturgeon up there in Scotland, Ardern, this Susan, whatever her name is, for YouTube, and all of these other resignations going on as well. How do they think they're not going to be held account just because they've resigned their jobs? Ridiculous, isn't it? And it'd be a little bit like me if I had some van driving job, say, and while I was doing my rounds I accidentally sort of reversed the van into a car, and didn't damage the van very much, but smashed the front of the car in really badly, and then I decided to do hit and run, but it was caught on CCTV and the police have got the footage kind of thing now, and the net was closing in on me. It'd be a bit like me jacking that van driving job in. Oh yeah, I'll just resign and go off and get another job. That'll sort it. Nothing will catch up with me. Wrong. We both know, don't we, that I would be held to account no matter how far I ran. I suppose if I emigrated, it wouldn't catch up with me. But with what these people have done, even if they emigrated, the long arm of justice will eventually catch up with them. So it's absolutely ridiculous them resigning thinking they're going to be saving their skins, although I'm not unhappy to see the backs of these people. So just a little bit of a comment on there. Another comment I thought I'd make is this comes from a video that Lee from Veritas Vincit did last night, who I'll hopefully see today, so that'd be fantastic to catch up with him again in person. But his video, which he called Tipping Point, I think it was, and he said basically, how far does the government have to push you before kind of really refusing to obey their laws becomes a valid thing to do? Because after all, let's push this to an extreme. If the government suddenly decided they didn't like a particular group of people and they made a law saying, yeah, look, you've got to help us round up these people we don't like and help us shove them into the gas chambers, well, you're not going to obey that law, are you? I mean, in fact, it'd be your sort of right and even your duty to not obey it. Although, from what I've seen over the last 3 years, I think a frighteningly large amount of people in this country would obey even a law like that. But hopefully, the vast majority of people wouldn't obey a law like that. So let's kind of do an analogy like a football pitch, yeah. So your goal line is, you know, the one that you're defending at your end, is like the kind of free democracy we thought we had until a few short years ago. And the other end of the pitch, the other goal mouth, is like some horrible fascist regime that kind of believed in putting people into sort of camps and all of the rest of it. And therefore you'd obey all of the reasonable laws that are made at your end of the pitch, but you wouldn't obey any of the laws made at the goal line at the far end of the pitch. But how far back from their goal line do you have to come back along the pitch before you sort of think, that line, it goes from not obeying their laws to obeying it? Is it sort of 3/4 of the way, halfway? In what? I would say if a law is made that is repugnant to any sort of right-thinking, lawful, law-abiding, moral, ethical person, you then have a right to not really give your consent to the bit of legislation that is passed. And that would be my answer to, because Lee was asking a rhetorical question, really, I suppose, and that would be kind of my slightly garbled, weird answer to that. But you certainly wouldn't obey a drastic law that goes against all humanity, would you? And then I think you can probably retreat quite a lot further back before it then becomes your moral duty to obey the laws that your government sort of passes. Yeah, Lee was also saying how the government have been doing all of these sneaky consultations to bring in laws that they know full well will not be liked by the vast majority of people in this country if it was explained how it should be explained in plain English and you were given all of the pros and cons of it. There's no way people would obey the law or sort of accept the legislation in the first place, should I say. But the government, and this seems to have been happening ever since the start of this nonsense, they've been having these late night votes with hardly anyone in the Houses of Parliament to notice, and they've been having these weird consultations which are very poorly publicised. It's only, the kind of sites I go on that tell you about it. Otherwise, I wouldn't know about these consultations. And then they're all worded in these sort of hard to understand ways, and it's all designed really to kind of get your consent by purely and simply by you not complaining about it. Well, as far as I'm concerned, that's not consent. Lee made the analogy again of if you were to sort of tell someone, or you wanted to rob someone's house, say they had a nice laptop computer and you wanted to rob it for yourself, and you put a notice up in the town hall saying, on such and such a date, I'll be going to such and such a property and taking this particular laptop computer, and then posting it up, let's say, on a notice board in the local town hall, and then a month goes by, and then you go and sort of take the laptop. Well, that's not legitimate, is it? Yes, the notice may have been up in a public place for quite a decent amount of time, a month, but because the person didn't complain about it, that doesn't give you the right to do it, does it? That's absolutely ridiculous, but that's how these people seem to work. They sort of say, well, we did tell you, we put a notice up in a public place and you could have had your say. You could have sort of said, come back to me and said, no, I don't want you sort of doing this action, taking this action, but we never heard from you, so that gave us legitimate implied consent from you to do the actions. No, that's not how it works. As far as I'm concerned, if you want to do something, you make it highly public. You even put adverts out on national radio and TV saying exactly what you're going to be doing in plain English, and if anyone objects to it, they are free to write into this particular sort of address, which is then looked at, and all of the sort of yeses and nos are counted properly, not like the way Sadiq Khan does it, but properly, and then if the majority of people who have written in say yeah, it's a good idea, then go ahead with it, and if the majority say no, they don't want it, no, you don't do it, you don't sort of go ahead with it anyway. So I'm going to leave it there. I've just had a few things bubbling away in my mind that I wanted to say before making my way up to Oxford, so going to quickly edit this, get it uploaded, get on the train, and if you're going to be there, I'll see you in a bit. Tim from Fair Play Now, thanks for watching.